malheureusement Afrique sans fric. Oh, naso idée. Naso idée. Yendenika. Mais oui, c'est comme ça. Eh oui.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Now You Know Podcast. Please do check us out on Twitter at Now You Know One, and we are also on Instagram at NYK Podcasts. Just so you know, follow us, like, share, repost, do what you gotta do. So tonight we're gonna be talking about a few things, but before we get to that, we're gonna have a quick, chat about what's going on around the world and see how everyone is doing. I know Chef Carl's here, but he's probably still eating his chicken. Or probably still marinating it. And we have our guest tonight, but we're gonna get to her in a second. Let's see what Chef Carl is doing. Anyway, why Carl trying to sort out his technical issues. Um, our guest tonight, you guys definitely should remember her. She was on one of our previous episodes. Her name is Priscilla Watara, and she's from the West African nation of Ivory Coast. Let me not speak for you, Auntie. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, hi everybody. My name is Priscilla Watera. I am not the president's daughter. I just have the same last name. Yeah, I'm from Ivory Coast. I live out in NYC. Living my best life out here.
Mm.
Yeah, and just enjoying, my life. So I'm here to represent all the fine ladies, all the tech babes,
Mm.
all the smart woman, black woman out here.
Very nice, very nice. I know you mentioned, tech babes and all that, which kind of leads us into our topic, which is about, being a woman in tech. We don't want to just say black woman because, that would be kind of, putting a whole demographic aside. So we want to say, women in general, women in tech, because hey, there are a lot of women who are breaking into the tech field nowadays, and they're doing a phenomenal job. But even before we even go into like tech, like what is like trending out there in terms of tech? I know recently Twitter is now known as X. How do you feel about that?
Repeat that one more time.
No, I'm saying like the trends in tech right now, like for example,
The
Twitter
trends.
is now
Mm-hmm.
known as X, right? So how do you feel about
All
that?
right. I don't like it. I don't like any of the renovations that Elon is doing. Honestly, I'm one of those that actually migrated to Spill once X came about.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I really don't like what he did. He changed like the retweet button for repost. A few other modifications that he's done. I actually saw that in some of the privacy and security settings, for instance. You can actually just not see your backup codes anymore in Twitter. If you're having issues with authentication and authenticating into your account. So I also did not like that feature because a lot of us don't probably screenshot our backup codes. Um, for instance, SMS text message authentication is no longer available as a 2FA. I mean, it's great that we have to use MFA using applications, third-party applications, and so forth. But it's just there's a lot of limitations to what he's doing, and like removing headlines from articles. It's like, okay, sometimes we want to read the headlines. The headlines, draws attention. We don't
Mhm.
really have time to read a full description sometimes of a news article. So there's a lot of gripes, but I'm still there. So
Why we're talking, I was hearing some big acronyms, 2FA, MFA. Hey, our audience, we have a very, smart audience, but when you're speaking, please try to spell those things out for those of us in the back. You know, it will help. You know what I mean?
sorry, two-factor authentication and
Uh-huh.
multi-factor authentication.
See, there you go. See, now it makes sense. 2FA, MFA. To me, that means nothing. That means nothing. Anyway, so Priscilla, welcome to NYK Podcast. It's good to have you again. So pretty much, I mean, I guess the leading question is going to be like, how like, okay, what drove you into the tech field?
Wait,
Oh, Chef Carl's alive.
Hello?
yes, I'm alive. I'm trying to get some technical things handled, but yes, I'm here.
If you need help, let me know.
Yeah, we have a whole
Um,
tech person here.
I'm telling you. I don't need help, but continue. You can answer the question, please.
okay. Belner, please repeat the question.
Yeah, for sure. So what I'm saying is like, I guess a leading question tonight is going to be like, what drove you into tech?
Mhm,
And how did you pick your field? Because when people talk about tech, especially like the term IT is
mhm,
very broad. So when someone says, "Hey, I'm an IT major, I'm in IT, I'm in tech,"
mhm.
we always ask the follow-up question, okay, what exactly are you doing in IT? So how did you decide what you wanted
Mhm.
to do in IT?
Right, right. So essentially, it's not really a long story about how I got into it. But first of all, I was always interested in computers and working with technology. I was in engineering classes in high school. So I always had some kind of like, interest in these things. Um, but going further into how I got interested into my later life is that I used to be a McDonald's manager full time and I went to school full time. Essentially, I had an epiphany going on a like month and a half trip to Southeast Asia, and my friend just noticed about how like dreadful I was about returning back home to the States, getting back to work, going back to school. And he made it really clear to me and like really awoken some senses into me saying, hey, why don't you just do something that you really love? Like make a list and write down things that you love. And the first thing that I put down was working on computers, working with computers. And that's really where I started looking into. I just started doing more research into it and like, hey, I can do this, like I can prove to somebody that I know what I'm doing on a computer. Since I was 8 years old, I can remember I was on my computer at home. I was getting viruses from downloading games to my parents' computer and having to do malware scans on my computer before my parents got home and fix it. So I'm like, you know what? I have some kind of technical background. I think I can prove my other skills that I have with it too. By God's grace, I fell on a job where it was very specific. It was specified in terms of technical work. I was a technical support specialist, but in credit card readers. So I would integrate different programs that were affiliated to medical and dental practices. Um, and integrate that program with credit card readers in terms of payment taking. So I would have to learn how to write in short code scripts in order for the credit card software. So you usually see like credit card machines in like grocery stores like Verifone and Ingenicos. I would have to be able to get into their backend program and program those in order to work with the medical programs that doctors use to take patient payments. Um, so from there, I pretty much it was more of like a self discovery and a self research type of process that I went through. I kept you know trying to further myself and push myself to learn more. And then from there, I just grew more and more in absorbing knowledge. I was pretty much a sponge around anybody that I was around working with. So anything that they would tell me, I would look into it. I would try it myself. I got into trouble a few times trying to take on harder tasks, challenging myself, doing things that I wasn't even, hired to do, just because I wanted to get to a certain place and a certain level. And to the point now, I'm thankfully no longer working at McDonald's. I'm not a technical support specialist, but now I'm a Microsoft 365 administrator for a
Hmm.
hospital network.
Wow.
So yeah, I've made it, but I'm still going a little bit further. I feel like I can still, keep climbing up the ladder.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think growth is one thing that we always look for. And while you were talking, I mean, you're talking about you were, fixing up stuff in the computer when you were 8 years old, and I was just thinking, like, remember what Carson was doing at that age? Very useless boy. I don't even know what he was doing at that age. Probably stealing coconut from trees.
There's more than one way to skin a what?
Skinny with foul.
It's a cat now. Where?
I have sense. I wasn't skinning cats when I was 8 years old.
I wasn't skinning cats either. I was busy climbing for trees and other things. But I was saying I didn't even know what technology was back then like that at 8 years old, man. That was when, well, probably before boarding school when they were trying to teach us some MS DOS,
Bro, I
DOS
remember
and all
the
that
first time I
stuff.
touched a computer was in PS Manco now. I was like 11.
Yeah,
When they're showing you that you type,
I
you press
know.
a letter and you see on the screen is like, wow.
I'm telling you. They give us a piece of paper with like the keyboard letters on there, like put your fingers here, here. You have to type like that. I'm like, I'm practicing typing on paper. That was crazy. Yeah. My neighbor had a typewriter. I used to try to play with it. Man,
Mhm.
good times.
Yeah, definitely good time.
But,
So
but we thank God for African tech masters, so tech people.
yeah, definitely. Those guys are the what do they call it? Cyber cafes, one.
Oh,
Oh,
the cyber
we used
cafes,
to,
yeah.
yeah, we used to own one actually once I got to boarding school.
Yeah,
What?
probably cyber cafes. Like
Yeah.
now honestly, if you could even afford to go to cyber cafe, you had made it.
Now you have money. Yeah, you low key have money.
Yeah, you had money.
Because you have
Or
to
you
think
know, or
about
you,
like food money, spending money,
yeah.
a cyber cafe.
And
Right.
people went there to like play games, not even to like send an email, or they
I'm
went to
telling
play
you.
games, man. Go and play. What was it? Pinball and those other foolish games that were built in.
Dumbest games ever.
And play solitaire. Someone will sit there for 4 hours playing solitaire, man.
All because it's
Imagine
computer.
imagine someone going there to play just solitaire. That game
Yeah,
never ends.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just money gone.
I'm not gonna lie, I got nice at solitaire.
I used to
Man,
just try to play Minecraft. Or what was it called? Mine or whatever.
I don't remember.
I forgot. It's the one with
Minecraft,
the mine.
that's the new kids, right? The new kids stuff.
No, there was a different one. It was like the Microsoft mines or whatever. And
No,
you pretty much
that wasn't built in the laptops. Computers can run in that one. Anyway,
Definitely.
so I guess moving on, right? So you're talking about your journey to go, from where you started at age 8 to where you are now, and obviously you're talking about how you're still trying to grow. So just kind of pivot a little bit. I know I talked about just being a woman in general, but did you have any like challenges being a Black woman trying to progress your way through the tech field?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, big key one, of course it's discrimination, right? Um, just erase the factor of gender and being, classified as a woman. But it's just being black in general. Um, People usually don't think that you're up to par with what is actually available out there in terms of technology, what you actually know. They don't believe that you can amount to what their standards are. Essentially, you're undermined a lot. And then on top of that, you place also being a woman. That makes it even worse. Usually, you see a woman, or men see women typically, and it's like, oh, she probably doesn't know anything, or she's probably just a normie. That's what you like to be. They like to be called just a normie, somebody who's not really a geek or a nerd, who understands tech, who understands computers and the normal language that we speak about when speaking about tech things. So there's a lot of challenges in terms of being a woman and being black in tech. And essentially the challenges are very vast, right? You never know who you're going to get. Whether if it's somebody who doesn't even work as a technician, for instance, it could be an end user. They will hear your voice on the phone, in a meeting. They don't see your face, but they just hear your voice. They can classify you as a woman, to the pitch, and say things that are just condescending to you because they just assume that you don't know, or they will automatically just think of you as a receptionist. Meanwhile, you're actually the technician that's working with them, right? And then also when you see them when you're in person too, they'll just brush you off or think that you're not serious or just give you a very limited amount of time before they just lose patience on you. But one of the most hurtful things honestly about being a woman in tech in general is when you are facing another woman who also doesn't believe in what you can do, and you are pretty much just seen as somebody else who could possibly like do better in quotes, like, hey, yeah, just do this work. You're, you could do better, but you didn't do well enough. Or you look down on. Especially when it comes from another woman, you think that she would be there to uplift you, to power you on, to encourage you in some ways, but sometimes you're not regarded in that aspect. So sometimes that's actually the most hurtful because you feel like you've met somebody that could be like a teammate for you or a companion, or a supporting person, on your side, but sometimes you don't find that. So those are some of the challenges I would say that you would face.
Be your own gender.
Bro, what? That's when you hit them with the I identify as a man, as a white. Stop all that
Honestly, when I
nonsense.
apply lately, since I've been applying to different things, whether if it's jobs in general or whatever, even since this new position that I've even started working at the hospital here, I actually did not put my race. I said I do not identify or do not wish to identify for my race and also for gender as well, because it leaves them, with an open field to guess who you really are. The only thing that they could probably take away is my last name and then try to see who I am. But
We're gonna Google you
yeah.
up
I
on
don't think
LinkedIn
I
account.
don't think they're gonna try, bro. It's not gonna be a try. They'll know.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll know.
What's your last name again?
Yeah.
Matara.
No.
What time? They're like,
Me, I always hit the other, so that way they'd be like, "What? Indian, Native American? You'll find me now." It could make sense, possibly.
because I'm a Malian.
I'm still a minority. Facts.
Damn. So pretty much you're saying that you face a lot of discrimination also from other women as you go through tech. I mean, is that because of? I'm trying to figure out what like the key reason. Is it because they're trying to progress themselves or trying to halt another person from progressing above them?
Pretty much it's just that it varies by case, right? I've had issues where the end user is a woman and they don't think that you are smart enough as a man because
Mm,
typically they always see that men are the ones that are leading in tech. They're always the number one go-to, right? They're the dominant, I guess you say, yeah, the dominant gender when it comes to tech. Of course, we see that everywhere. And so when they see a woman, sometimes they're ecstatic, like, oh my goodness, yes, a woman in tech, finally somebody who I can speak to that won't judge me based on how I, interpret what my issue is or what my problems are, or things that I want to, gain knowledge on. But sometimes you fall on those women that are like, where's the guy tech that I had last week? He knows everything. You probably don't even understand how to even get to where he did last week. But then it's like, I'm the best one here. That's why I was sent to help you. I can most likely figure out this issue faster than the technician that you had before. But sometimes they don't get that. Another case could be is like you mentioned, competition, right? So there's some women that work with you that will see you as competition, or essentially as another way of them possibly losing their position, because in most cases they're the only other woman that's working in that company, in that department, for a while or for a long time. um, and all of a sudden there's a number two woman that comes in, and it becomes, a thing of, oh, testing each other. How much do you know? How much are you with the boys? Are you one of the guys? Are you this, that, so it becomes a kind of a challenge, and sometimes you either want to feel like you have to shine more in terms of, try to boast yourself and showing what you know for knowledge, but that's not always, helpful, right? Because sometimes you kind of lose focus on what your main goal is when you're there. Or sometimes you try to undermine yourself as a technician and try to stay a little bit in the background, right? And that also is not good because you're not owning up to your full potential. So there are challenges in that and a lot of self conflict that may arise, when there's other women that see you as competition. Meanwhile, you're most likely there and wanting to create like a type of community where you both could rise and bring other women into the department, into the company, and grow together to become an undeniable force. As cliche that sounds, but um, yeah, those are definitely some things that you can face as a woman.
Gotcha.
I have
So
a
I
question
think,
for you.
yeah, go ahead, Carl.
Mhm.
In regards to what you just said, right, as far as like, having to prove yourself a little bit more because you're a woman, do you find that at times you might, or have you also witnessed this as well, maybe not just you, right, where you have women in those positions where they try to overcompensate and maybe because they're expecting a certain amount of pushback, they have a different attitude or a different outlook on things or treat people a little bit differently because they're expecting that negative treatment or being looked down on and kind of, have a rocky start to their relationships in the workplace in that sense because they're kind of, trying to get ahead of things, but instead restarting things.
Right, exactly. So that's where it comes to communication. In terms of body language, expression, you're going to be working with this person. This is your colleague, whether they're in a higher position than you, lower, or the same position. So because they expect things to be a certain way, especially if they were there before you, there are ways where they should be able to communicate that. But then again, technicians in general are not great with communication. Um, they are not people who like to discuss with people, to talk to people, or really be very socializing people. So now a woman that sees another woman that's most likely in the same position that she was when she first had started, you would think there would be more of an, hey, here is the ABCs to how to get through, your beginning process here. Um, but then you get the whole opposite of being outcasted or seen differently or not having that inviting, I guess you could say, atmosphere from that person, um and them trying to also, bring themselves up to kind of show, hey, I'm still number one, I'm still here, you know, as the number one woman tech, just to show that these things could happen again to this other new person that showed up in the company, but because I expected it, I'm going to try to shield myself from any things that could happen. So it's mainly, like I said, it's mainly communication. It's also, just talking one on one with each other and other people and trying to spread that message like, hey, you're new here, but this is an inviting place. This is an area of culture where we also want other people to grow as well, to move up the ladder, not keep them at the same level. So I feel like that's where the main basis is all come into.
Said.
One thing about working with a bunch of people is not everybody's gonna be your friend, right? And
Hmm.
obviously, when you meet personally, I like having that one rival within in the group because you might not
You
like
don't
that
want
person.
peace. You want problems.
You might not like you might not like that person, but at the same time, they're gonna indirectly push you to your best every single time because you might be seeing what they're doing and you'll be like, this person is doing well, and obviously that's gonna motivate you, right? Or if everybody's your friend, maybe some people don't want to grow, they want to stay at the same level, so they're not really gonna work as hard as you might want to work as hard. And if you're saying that, hey, let's do this, let's do that, so we can grow, they might be very comfortable where they are. But when you have that one person that maybe you don't see eye to eye with, but they're doing the best they can do, you're definitely gonna be like, this person might be an enemy of mine, but guess what? He's making me a better worker on a daily basis.
Right. I feel like it's not like a way where everybody has to be your friend, but
Mm,
it's in terms of being, at least courteous to the person. For instance, I'm not going to start on the first day. You're not just going to talk to me or just completely ignore me or act
right.
like I'm someone who's completely stupid. I mean, it's not everybody that I'm friends with where I work. But I still treat them with politeness. I'm still cordial with other people. I'll still keep that professionalism with everyone because, of course, also being super funny, friendly to everybody too. You also want to be taken seriously. You also need that type of respect. So there's boundaries essentially when it comes to that in the workplace, of course.
Definitely. All right, that brings us to our first segment, known as the African proverb. So today's proverb says, "A roaring lion kills no game." Repeat it. A roaring lion kills no game. Carson has sense. His sense is downloaded from last month, and he's ready to tell us what this proverb means.
Hey man, why are you putting me on the spot at this? Like, I mean, it's kind of simple, right? It's more so like less talk, more action. I would say that's the quickest way to kind of summarize it. A lion, if it's gonna talk a lot, it's gonna scare the prey away, right, and just go away. So it's like say less, do more. Keep it at that.
Yep, and the funny thing
That's my
about that
sense of
proverb,
downloaded.
and the funny thing about that, your sense definitely downloaded. And
Mhm.
one good thing about that proverb is that, just like how we're talking tonight with Priscilla. So a lot of times, when you're in a work environment, you let your work do the talking for you, right? Versus the other way around. So you want to make sure that you put in your work and let it speak for you. All right. So Priscilla, you talked about your, how you were, an 8-year-old working on computers. So I have 2 questions for you. Maybe Carl might have a few more, but first question that I want to ask you as far as your growth through tech is, what advice would you give 10-year-old Priscilla?
What I would give 10-year-old Priscilla for advice is that, well, at the time I wanted to be a doctor when I was 10. So, as you can see, I definitely went off path with that. That pretty much the sky is not the limit, I should say, because I believe that space should be included too. And I don't consider space as the sky. So, essentially, just go as far as you want in your dreams, Priscilla. You don't need to go to college to be successful in life. You don't need to become a doctor to make it far in life. There's other avenues that you can take. Don't be scared or feel like anyone's going to judge you if you don't go with exactly what path that you've decided on since you were like 5 years old. Um, just keep staying strong, stay level headed, and always defend yourself in what you know.
Mm. Before I even ask my next question, you talked about you live in New York, right?
Mhm.
So how do you? Because I always see like you're always outside. You're literally outside 24/7. So when do you even work? Because how do you? How do you?
I'm telling you, this babe does not sit down at all.
Carl,
Like,
you have a lot.
This is about you
You and
here.
I,
This is
we are
about
the
you.
same.
No, we're not. This is about you and not me. So continue.
it takes one to know one, eh? It's proving.
Literally, Carl and I are literally the same person. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's just that one identifies as a man, one identifies as a woman, the same person.
Go ahead, Jesus.
Yeah, but like, how do you handle living in New York? One of the busiest cities, the city that never sleeps. How do you manage, going to all these events and still being able to maintain, a full-time job? Like, how do you
For the
do it?
rec for the record, I identify as a man. Let's just go there. Let's start with that.
Pretty much it's just I don't know. I feel like I'm an Energizer bunny, right? Like the commercial. Um I sleep. I definitely sleep. A lot of people think I don't sleep, but I do sleep. It's really just organizing your time. If you were to see my calendar right now, it's completely full. Every single day is full. There's something going on. So it's essentially just organizing my time, knowing when to cut off certain events or when to be there at the prime time. And knowing which things I can go to and which things I can't. I mean, there are certain times that I cannot make something, and it's because my body needs rest. So if I really can't make it, I'm not gonna feel like, oh, it's the end of the world. Um, I'll be fine. I just need to sleep. And then that event will most likely be available again sometime soon in the next year or the next week, whenever. Um, but essentially, working, it's a full time job, right? I'm always attached to my phone. That's the one thing I can say about myself. So whether if it's work or being outside, and doing active things, whether if it's going out to events, parties, concerts, art events, whatever, sporting events. I'm always connected to work as well on my phone. My notifications are always on. If it is Monday or Friday, then I also have my calls forwarding to my cell phone from the desk at work. So if there's an emergency or something going on, I have that also populating on my phone. And I also have my Teams messages also notifying me every single day, anytime somebody tries to contact me. So I'm always available 24/7 as much as I can be, to take care of things with work. Work is, first priority, after family and stuff like that. Um, and then now being outside when it's my time to have fun, of course, I'm still with it. One of the things that I've actually changed about myself is not having alcoholic drinks a lot when I go out. That's one thing I
There's a
don't do.
lot. We need to kind of define whether a lot is a lot.
Yeah.
The lot saying
Listen.
after my 8th drink that's a lot, or is it like after 2 drink that's a lot?
I'm
need
saying
to-
a lot, but essentially I don't even drink at all. So
Clap, clap.
I-
Wow. Ooh.
what? No, not when I go out, I don't. If I'm going out to a dinner, yes, I will have a glass of wine, but to go out and go
That's
to
the
events,
bullshit. That's the
I have a
bullshit.
question. Isn't somebody in a whiskey club or something like that? Or
no,
am
not
I-
anymore. I haven't been in about a year.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't been in about a year.
Mm.
Which I actually miss it.
Mm.
The alcoholic
but-
speaking.
No,
Mhm.
I miss actually learning about it. I was actually interested in learning about it and the different tastes from different regions of Ireland and also Japan. That was really interesting to me.
The different
Um,
tastes. So does that require drinking it?
Yeah,
Well,
you have
of
to.
I'm
course.
sure.
You have to
Oh,
taste
okay.
to find the one you
Just
like.
making sure. Just making
But I'm
sure.
saying
Just making
like
sure.
things like going like especially now that I live here and stuff like that. That's one of the things that I don't do because then I don't wake up hungover. I don't wake up tired, dehydrated the next day. So I can just wake up again 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, get back to whatever I'm doing after I get home late. So that was one of the advantages that I started, becoming more of a routine for me. And I've actually stopped this for about a year now. So I mean, even if I wasn't drinking much, right? Maybe 2 glasses of beer or 2 glasses of wine, it would still make a difference for me the next day for some reason. Even if I'm not drunk, I'm not intoxicated, I'm having the standard state limit, whatever it is, I think 12 ounces or something. Even if I have that, I still feel some type of way the next day. Because you're outside, you're having fun, you're being active, you're sweating, you're staying fit, whatever. So just intaking a lot of water and eating food. Yes, eat food, not just having like a candy bar before going to do something. Is definitely a plus too. So I feel like that's one of the other big things is just making sure that you're physically also healthy because your mental and your physical takes quite a bit of an impact. So and then the last thing I would say is just decompressing after work. I mean, sometimes we don't have time to decompress, especially if we have, like, say, a concert or something important to go to after work during the weekday. But as much as you can, just decompress after work, 2 hours at least, just forget about work, zone out, get into your Zen mode and just relax, stare at the wall, read a book, call a family or friend or something just to talk about things that are good, share good news, motivate each other, pray with your friends, your family, something that to uplift yourself just so then you feel good after a long day. That's also something that's important that I also do into my daily routine.
Nice. I guess you can say IT stands for eat because now she's giving us advice on how to make sure we eat proper foods.
You know,
Yes.
right?
Kari, you have any question before I hit over the last question?
Yeah, I actually had a couple of questions.
Mhm.
It's a 2-part question actually. So, where do you see the future of tech going into? Because, like, there's like this huge explosion in regards to like people getting into tech and stuff like that. So, like, for you, besides AI, or maybe that is AI, like, where do you see the future in tech?
I literally see it in AI and cloud. I mean, we've already like full force gone into cloud work. But I see that as being probably one of the ultimate locations of tech, really, where tech is going to reside. But then I was also incorporating tech and robotics a lot more. Sorry, AI and robotics a lot more. Like for instance, this morning I was actually just reading a news article about how a church actually integrated AI into using that for preachings. And I was like, this is crazy cool. I even shared it with my dad. I was like, look at that, robots are taking over the world. Um,
Imagine going to
so
church. Imagine going to church and getting flogged by a robot because you didn't give offering.
I'm telling you, bro. Or we're giving communion.
AI sees that you're not giving your 10%, right?
You're not giving your
So
10% tithe, so you get flogged.
Tell me.
so I was just like, this is kind of cool. And I was actually just discussing it with my dad actually a few hours ago because I had time to decompress, right? So he was just like, oh yeah, maybe the pastor was away, or it's just another way of just having time to like have automated messages be given in church. So everybody can sit down and listen. It's kind of like having a live radio right in front of you, and they're explaining the preachings and whatever it's researched over time to you. Um, so that's where I really see tech going into, especially. I just recently went to an AI conference actually last week, and it was really amazing to see all the different types of people and groups of teams that collaborated together and explained their projects that they had. But this conference was more veered towards statistical and analytical AI, I guess you'd say AI based projects. So these AI scripts that they had built out were using these software tools to analyze, rank, and statistically look over data that has been accumulated over time, or research and find data in certain databases and different logs. So it was really interesting to see about how far it could go. There was somebody that actually had a script that could actually image a server using AI, and it would just take a few minutes or so to image the server. It wouldn't take long at all, but that's more in a VM environment into a off of a host. So that I really thought was actually very interesting.
So thank you for inviting us to that, by the way. Appreciate it. Yeah. And
Very
this, yeah,
unserious.
I'm telling you. And was this deployed already, like to the public, or was this just like a trial? Like a lot of stuff that you saw there, was this just like trial based things,
um,
like still in the testing
mo-
phase?
Most of these things were already deployed out to the public. So there are actually
Oh,
some companies, representatives there that were actually hiring people, engineers
mm,
that are already skilled in that. And, for instance, there was a company there. I can't remember the name. I believe it's Mosaic. I'd have to look into it, but the CTO was there, and his company was actually bought out by a multi-million dollar company, and now in the past few years, apparently they've become valuable up to billions. From what somebody had told me there at the conference, and I went over to go speak to him about his program, and I just thought it was mind blowing. It was amazing. His scripts were mainly featured and specific for people who have already created their programs. And this would essentially allow them to test it out in certain environments to present it to other businesses. So essentially, I work in healthcare. So whenever I figure out what I want to do with AI to help my healthcare network, I would present that project to him, and he would help pitch it with his programs, essentially in collaborating with it. And then my healthcare network would also pay for that servicing that he provides. So I just thought that was amazing because it's something that could also help other people in different ways. But he advised me that I would need to know exactly what I want to do, and then bring that to him and his company. Then he would help me further make it come to life. So
okay.
yeah, it was
Please, when
definitely
you
really
start
cool.
making billions and millions, please remember small
Some of
NYK.
us, I'm telling you. All right, my last question though, like if someone were to like reach out to you, right, or let's say you were to talk to like your somehow talk to your younger self, right? How would you recommend they begin their tech journey, right? Would you recommend like the, 4-year college route, or do you think like, everything's more certification based and like that's really what's prevalent, nowadays? So how would you advise them in general, like to be able to begin the journey, get into the field, and then navigate through to the top?
I would say going into a 4-year college, it is helpful. It will give you the basics to know what is software, what is a program, what is hardware, what is a computer. For instance, learning about RAM and gigabytes and terabytes and all that informational knowledge that you need, right? And also knowing how to use some certain basic programs or some things that can get you into other higher programs, like C++, for instance. So those are all necessary knowledge things that you need to know. But I would also say just look and see what you feel when you use a computer. Aside from using it to go on social media, just try to create a problem and see if you can reverse that on your computer. I mean, don't completely kill it, but just try to see if that's something that you would be interested in, or watching somebody else, say go to Geek Squad, for instance, just say that you have this issue and watch them try to fix it. Is it something that you have some kind of interest in it? Because I feel like one of the most important things is that if you don't love that certain technology or that certain field that you want to get into, that you might have some type of interest, if you don't actually like it, you're going to end up hating it over time, because at one point it's just going to get boring, right? For me, I love it. I have a genuine interest in this. I could stare at a computer over and over again every day. Of course, I have times where I'm tired and I'm burnt out, but it's not something where I'm just like, oh, I really actually hate this. I actually want a new career. Like, I actually want to stay in this. Um, but definitely take that time to see if you really truly like it, because then that's what's going to drive you to go back to it every single day. um, I'm also going to say that you don't need a degree in college to make it to where you want to be. Definitely go for certificates, because you can make it with certificates. There are programs where universities, actually WGU .edu. I forgot exactly what they actually stand for, their whole entire name. I can actually look it up really quick. Western Governors University. They are an online school. They will give you a degree and tech certificates at the same time. So as you are going to study for your degree, and they're actually cheap, they will actually give you certificates as well. So for instance, I was actually looking into obtaining cybersecurity certificates, meanwhile also getting a degree in it, just for, just for giggles. Not gonna say the other word.
Yeah,
Um,
for
and
giggles.
just to see
Money
how
is
it
good
would
though.
be. I mean, essentially what I do, it's already, I have cybersecurity in it as well as actual Microsoft administration. But I just want to see what it would like to have that on paper. It was just an idea. And I just see that if you're able to complete the full online courses in 6 months, the cost of tuition is only 4.5K. That's all you would have to pay if you're able to complete it in 6 months. That means you're going to have to be consecrated and fully to that whole lesson plan, or plans, I can say, for 6 months. It's going to be a lot of work. It's all online, a lot of reading, a lot of interaction virtually. But you can essentially have a cybersecurity certificate, be certified for a job, and also have a degree in that 6 months. That's if you can stick to that plan, that coursework plan. So I encourage everybody to, do something like that. Or if you already are working in a job and you see that you can move into a department, go into the tech department, work with somebody there, shadow somebody, and see what they do, and see if you actually have interest in it, if it's something that you would like to try. Um, and then from there, also see if your job will pay for certificates. That way you don't have to pay for anything out of pocket. That would be my advice that I would give.
Thank you. And just a little. I know we started this whole conversation about being able to find your I guess your niche within the whole tech umbrella. So like I guess just to kind of wrap things up, what advice would you give someone trying to break into tech? Like, the whole field is massive. Like, what advice would you give someone just trying to, if someone just says, "Hey, Priscilla, I want to get into tech," what advice would you give them?
So this is actually one of the main questions that lots and lots of people always ask me because I try to promote here and there tech, how much I love my job, how much I love my position. And people are always interested in this. It's the new thing. It's the new like it thing to do, pun intended. So what I would always suggest people to do is first just start off entry level, help desk support, technical support, entry level one. Because essentially we all have to start entry level somewhere. There's never going to be somebody who's going to start entry level three, or I can say level three technical support in a company unless you really have your things together, your resume stacked, your certifications stacked, and you look super qualified. Especially if you're first starting out, you haven't really done anything just yet. Start off there. Don't go into a call center because you might not get off of calls. But definitely find a entry level help desk position where you can take your time to learn how a computer functions, how it reacts to certain actions that you take. It will help you with your typing. You need to know how to type fast, how to also shorthand code in terms of actually language and taking notes. I mean, just for your own performance purposes. And then also in terms of just being able to take your time to further your knowledge in computers, because you could always talk to somebody in a higher level or in a different department, and then take yourself to shadow them here and there to see what they do. And then you take those ideas, you group it together, you build your knowledge off of that to also grow yourself to the positions of where you want to be. And it'll also help you have a overview, because typically in a help desk position, you have to escalate things to people in different departments and different levels. So you'll be able to talk with people that you're escalating to. Sometimes they may want to share that information with you or give you advice on how to solve an issue, right? So when you're being told how to solve that issue, write it down, note it down for yourself for the future. So then when that issue does come back around again, you know what to do by yourself. You don't have to escalate it. That's how you'll grow over time. And then you can do your own research outside of work hours and say, hey, I want to learn more about this, about getting into this problem, learning about network, firewall security, things like that, routing. There's so many things that you can get into. So definitely starting off small and just being efficient, observing people and how they work and getting yourself acclimated to what's going on.
Well said, well said, well said. I know since we started, this discussion, you've been dropping a lot of, acronyms. You even dropped a school that, people definitely would be looking forward to checking out. And also just, if someone wants to ask for advice or how to get started, they definitely do want to reach you. So how should our listeners, get in contact with you if they really have any questions or get some clarity from the things you talk about tonight?
Honestly, I can be emailed. My email, I'll give that out. That's Priscilla, PRISCILLA @gmail.com. I'll respond to that. You can find me on LinkedIn, Priscilla Watera, full name there. Just look up Ivory Coast's current president, and you'll find the last name there.
Shameless plug. Drop the IG too while you're at it then.
And then the IG is Priscilla _ OUATT.
Yeah. What about the Bumble and the rest?
Hey,
Please, I deleted those. I've given up. I've deleted it.
sorry guys, she's taken apparently.
Oh,
Taken.
this is news to me, eh?
I'm telling you,
Wait,
we're
I'm
finding out
taken by who?
she's no
Well,
longer searching. She's no
I thought you
longer
agreed.
searching.
They asked me to take him by who?
Carl, who am I taken by? Since you know everything.
Talk to him, not me or her. I don't know, or they, whoever it is.
Wow.
Don't ask me.
The way that Carl's speaking, Carl, are you not the person?
AK, I beg you,
Seems
please.
like I need to
Let
drop
me
off and let you guys finish
let,
this.
let, let me announce this here before people
This,
gonna
this,
get
this, this is
confused.
this is an indirect Carson corner, not coming from me.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm catching strays. Oh, hey,
Stray bullets.
I'm telling you, man. I beg
All
you,
right.
talk to
So you
them.
can't answer
Not
the
me.
question. Okay.
I'm not the one. I've answered the question. I am
No,
not the one.
actually,
No.
no. Don't worry. That question is gonna be answered in the next episode. Priscilla,
Wait, what?
mind your business.
Oh Lord. Oh, what is this?
Next episode, we're gonna bring that question back, and Kara, you're gonna have to answer that question. So between now and next episode, I want you to look within yourself and find the answer.
Oh man.
Anyway, Priscilla, we definitely enjoyed having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming out and chatting with us. Very insightful. Hey, my people, tech, like she said, is the future. So if you have questions, reach out to her. We'll definitely put up all her information, in the description of this podcast. As always, check us out on Twitter at NayuKnow1, and we are on Instagram at NYK Podcast. Until next time, peace out.